You might be skeptical about this, and that's okay. But when you closely examine our lives, you will find that they follow the same laws that govern the universe itself. I'm talking about the natural world here. Things might seem random, but once you see these connections I'm going to share with you, it will change the way you understand the happenings in your life. I'm making this video because sometimes it feels like life is just too much. You know, people can give you all the motivation and all those speeches they want, but it just feels like everything is spiraling out of control and everything is breaking apart at the seams. And in those moments, it's really hard to dream, and that so-called light at the end of the tunnel that people keep yapping about feels like a fable. So I'm offering you a perspective shift that might change your life. I know it did mine, and if you can try to see what I'm about to share with you, even in your most chaotic, painful, and impossible moments, you become someone who believes that they are in sync with something much bigger than themselves. So let's get into it. The first is Newton's first law of motion. An object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an external force. How many times in your life have you felt really stuck? Like there's nothing moving, like there's nothing shifting, like you're trapped in a loop, then out of nowhere, something or someone happens. It could be a conversation, a YouTube video, a light bulb moment, a breakup, or a moment of discomfort so strong that it shakes you awake, and things start moving. You start moving. Maybe slowly at first, but eventually it will feel like it's happening all at once. Using myself as an example, I've been on YouTube since 2018, and all these years, I've shown up as the most authentic versions of myself I had access to at that time. But things are only visibly taking off now. The questions in the comments are, where have you been? I've been here, trying, failing, iterating, experimenting, and sharing my heart anyway. Answering the call to share in the way that I do was my external force. And now, what was set in motion 7 years ago is snowballing. It's a combination of all the steps I took over those years when there were no tangible results or people interested in what I was saying until now. It couldn't have happened at a better time. So if you're waiting for the right time to start or change something, this is your sign. Once you start moving, momentum takes over. It might take time, sacrifice, and tears, but if you break out of inertia and set things in motion, one day the seemingly impossible will become inevitable. Yes, your life might seem stagnant, but that one change, that one action you've been avoiding might just be the thing that shifts everything. The second is the chaos principle. I've talked about entropy before. It's the measure of disorder. When left alone in natural states, eventually everything goes from order to disorder. But the beautiful thing about this is that over and over again in our world, transformation almost always begins with disruption. So even if it feels like destruction, chances are it's actually a transition. We see it in the metamorphosis of butterflies. The caterpillars aren't actually dying, they are just dissolving to form the butterfly's adult structures. And here's my favorite example. Every single thing in existence, including you and me, is made up of particles forged in cores of dead stars. We are made of stars, man. So when chaos, breakdowns, and unexpected detours come, you can reframe them as catalysts for your transformation. Failure can either destroy you or it can push you toward reinvention and iteration. Loss can be the first step toward creating something more aligned with your true self. Chaos is painful. But if mountains can be born from violent shifts, don't you think you can rise from the wreckage? Huh? All I can think about in this moment is Maya Angelou's "And Still I Rise." You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You should read it if you haven't. A perspective shift can change everything. That's why you can put two people of equal standing in the exact same situation and one will rise while the other one will drown. With entropy in mind, when it all feels too much, the question is not why me? Ask yourself, what is this making space for? If you want to go deeper into this concept, check out my previous video on entropy. The third is gravity. One of the most mysterious and powerful forces in the universe. It bends space and time and shapes galaxies. Your choices work the same way. Every time you make a decision, you are acting like gravity. You are pulling new possibilities and new experiences toward you. I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone chalk up another person's success to luck. Oh, it's just luck. Is it though? Yeah, maybe there's a bit of serendipity involved, but if that person just sat on their bum and made no decisions, made no choices, do you think that so-called luck would have found them? The moment you decide, really decide on something, you pull new realities towards you. A person who is actively looking for a job is more than likely to find one, even if it takes a year or two. A person who wants a job but decides that the job market is too hard, which it is, and cries about it without taking any action will never find one. However, when you speak to those two people, I can tell you that they'll probably use the same language. Oh yeah, I'm just looking for a job. But in reality, only one of them is pulling things towards themselves. Everything you focus on has mass. It carries weight. And anything that has mass has gravity. The moment you set a new standard for yourself, your world begins to shift around that expectation. The moment you step into a new identity, you repel any reality that doesn't match it, automatically attracting one that does. That's why it seems almost magical. You might even say, oh my God, imagine if I just didn't go that day. Oh my God, imagine if I didn't do this or that. There's nothing to imagine because chances are your actions are in alignment with the choices you made much earlier about the life you want and who you want to be. So of course, the opportunity appeared out of nowhere. But if you stop for a second, you realize that the answer is in that statement. You called it an opportunity. Someone else or an earlier version of you might not have seen it as one. It's no coincidence. It's gravity. The fourth is the expansion principle. Growth cannot happen without some form of stretching, and that's really uncomfortable. It will always be uncomfortable. We notice that there has been an expansion in the universe, a stretching in space itself, when galaxies appear to be moving away from each other. So, at every turning point in your life, you will feel the stretching, the discomfort, the uncertainty. It might look like things are moving away, falling apart. That's how you know you are evolving. When you level up, you feel like you're losing yourself before you find something bigger. When a seed breaks through the soil, it must push through the dark and the weight above it before it can grow into a strong plant. If you feel like you're being pushed past your limits, like you're outgrowing old spaces, even people, like you don't recognize yourself anymore, good. That means you are expanding. That means you are in motion, just like the universe. And the final one is singularity. In physics, this is a point where all known laws break down, where everything converges. An example is the center of a black hole. In your life, this will be a moment where everything you've been through, everything you've learned, all collapses into a single point of transformation. It will be your turning point. As you can imagine, this will be intense. You might even feel like you've been struck by lightning. But that's when you lean in. While I don't believe in romanticizing pain at all, and I don't think there's any reward for suffering. I know some people think that there's a reward. Yeah, because I went through hell and high water, things will be fine for me in 10 years. Well, I don't think so. I don't think there's any reward for suffering. However, depending on what you do with what has been given to you, a singularity in your life can be that moment where you suddenly realize the purpose of your pain. And this can reshape your reality. Those are the moments you point back at and say, from that moment onward, nothing was ever the same. You are the universe experiencing the universe. You are it in motion. You don't have to believe in the supernatural to marvel at its complexity. So embrace the shifts. Embrace the challenges, the breakdowns, and the breakthroughs. Move with intention. Trust the physics of your own existence. The same forces that shape the stars, that drive galaxies, that push life forward, they are at work in your life too. They are shaping you too. And I just hope that you see that. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. My name is Pearl. And I'll see you in the next video.